Let me pause that. Okay. I think we are live. It goes so quick on this. Just goes right to the live. Let's let some people show up. If everybody made it over, we'll see. And I'm going to make sure this video is ready to go. Hello, Marky Baron. Thank you so much for coming over. Very cool. A couple people are showing up now. Awesome. Joe DeLynn. Nicole Peg from Canada. She's always there. I know. Sorry. I'm glad you could find it. This channel is going to be fun because it's a little more intimate. We can have more discussions, and you should get the notifications. They're not sending out notifications on my other channel. Some people get them, some people don't. But this is nice, so we can kind of make sure everybody gets the notifications, and we can talk. Sweden is here. Yasmin Overland, very cool. Kathy, hello. Dee Dee, made it. Thank you. Kathleen, Sue Ryan, Noreen, Jane, very cool. Thanks for coming over, guys. So Danielle, David Harris, Virginia M, and Doozy. I know each time I do that, people are like, well, when I go to the other channel, but so many people every time don't know about MrPopZit Live yet. So it's hard to build something. And we're going to, I think we'll get up to maybe 50 on this one. Fridays, I've noticed earlier, people are still working or doing stuff. I did get up to almost 2,000, I think, one Friday. It was later, though. Oh, very cool. Joe DeLynn, thank you. I see a lot of names when I see patients, and I try to get them right. I get them wrong sometimes, and they correct me, so that helps. Cool. Ladybug got both notifications. Awesome. So we got about 35. Let's talk about what this is. So this patient is so nice. You might even be on here. Her sister, the story behind this abscess and then the cyst was, oh, hello, Karen Lurie. My mom is on here. That's awesome. Very cool. She caught the live. Welcome, welcome. And this case, she came in, and it right off the bat, it was very fluid-filled pocket when I was pushing on it. And this is from last year. This is actually a ways back. I'm building these stories, and it's multiple follow-ups, and then I'll have a giant abscess come in. I'm like, well, I'll post that this week. And then I'm editing new ones keep coming in, and they kind of get pushed to the front sometimes. But this was a great story, and I actually have several back from this time late last year, around 6 to 10 months ago. So that I've got some good ones coming. I've kind of went way back in my editing bin I save them over ready for editing, and they sit there. And I was kind of perusing, and I was like, man, I didn't even do the follow up for the shamrock shake yet. I couldn't believe it. So. I get so busy. So she came in, and she said she had a cyst there, and there was a pore. And Arlene says, hi, Nana. Thanks, Arlene, for showing up. And she had a pore. Sister was pushing on it, and it just blew up on her, she said, which is a common thing I hear from, with inflamed cysts that turn into abscesses. I do hear that a lot. And thank you, Marshall. But this one was different. It was different from the get-go. It felt different. It had way more fluid than normal. And, I believe we cultured it, and I don't believe it cultured anything out, if I recall. And I think I did that on a follow-up, that it actually just said it was an inflamed cyst. They didn't have any additional growth on it. So that was interesting, and because it was green. But that happens sometimes, a brownish green or a yellowish green. Sometimes it's an older abscess that can kind of start to turn, basically, or over ripen, I guess, as we say. So that can happen. Basically, we drained it, and we got all of that fluid. she came back in. It did take a couple months, and it did start to kind of fill up. And she had originally had this cyst injected by another provider, another office, not with our company, with a anti-inflammatory or steroid. And it's likely sometimes that gets in there, and that can kind of liquefy things a little bit. I have seen that happen. And so that's possible that there was a more solidified cyst in there, and they put in quite a bit of anti-inflammatory or Kenalog steroid, and it kind of liquefied it a little bit or broke it down a little bit, brought down the inflammation. And then it kind of ballooned back up again with mostly fluid. So that likely happened. And you know, I know she got the shot. So when we drained it, I was like, okay, if there's a cyst, I didn't see much. There wasn't that many cyst contents that came out of the incision and drainage we did. So there was some, but not much at all. And I was like, okay, probably the cyst will reform. Maybe it's at the bottom of the pocket. And it took time. It was 3 or 4 months later. I think I might have even injected it once, thinking she might have been getting some hypertrophic scar. And so, let me see. Content monitors, post in description the links to all your channels. Yeah, I will. I will do that. I am the editor, the content monitor. I do it all. It's, I know. You can imagine. That's a lot of stuff, a lot of time, but I should have a content monitor, and I think I will soon. Matilde Bermudez. That's a good idea. But yeah, I'm going to post them a couple times too, because the links need to come up regularly so people know. Because I know people aren't on here every day or even every week sometimes. So yes, I think it's a good idea. So coming back to this abscess, I think I injected it once. It softened up a little bit, and then it went 3, 4, maybe 5 months. And then that was the presentation you saw before I did that surgery. And I could feel it felt like a cyst. I was like, man, there is definitely something in there. It's time to crack it open and solve the mystery of the shamrock shake abscess at that point, what we were calling it. So I numb it up, and you can see from the procedure we just posted, there was also a little lipoma in there. I believe that was a lipoma. And it was bigger than just a regular lobule. It came out in one piece. So we could have been feeling some of that too. But as I start to retract back, you know, with the little skin handle I do, I could see a lining. There was a cyst wall there for sure. I mean, you know, you could see it. You could see me go poke. I was pushing on it and went in, just like it goes into a regular cyst. And then you can see my surprise when, what is that? I literally, I was like, man, did they leave a Vaseline packet in there? Like, I've never. One other time, I think I said it in the thing on this, I saw epidermoid cyst on the scalp. I've seen some applesauce infiltrate. I've seen some weird things from those. And I did see one similar to this, but it wasn't the same. And one thing that's interesting about this one is, you know, we do put a little Vaseline on the surface, but not that much, not as much as it was in there when we do a pressure bandage after we do the I&D. And I thought, could it be that? But a lot of times Vaseline in time will kind of melt a little, you know, with the body heat. It'll liquefy a little bit. So that wouldn't make much sense. And then I thought, gosh, this is, you know, possibly mucus that has solidified. It had to be. That's what I've come to the conclusion. The path report said epidermal cyst. It was cyst lining, and it was a cyst. I put that goop in there. I kind of pushed it back into the lining, and I put on there, please specifically speak to the contents of this sac. It could have, as it got into the formalin that we sent it out in, it may have liquefied, and maybe they didn't see it. May have liquefied a little bit or broken down, which was what I think happened, because they didn't speak to it exactly. But they said they did say something, the contents of an epidermoid or epidermal cyst, I believe is what it said. So it was a cyst. And so I kind of started thinking, I'm like, what could this be? And I came to the conclusion, I analyzed the clear stuff. I smeared it. I didn't put it under a microscope though. We do have a microscope, but prepping that when you're having a busy day, you know, is it just doesn't happen usually unless it's something you're really unsure about. And it probably I would have seen right through it. It would have been a strange thing because it literally felt and looked like Vaseline. And we have something called goblet cells. And goblet cells produce mucin and mucus. And we have those in our digestive tract. We have them in mucous membranes. That's what causes mucus in the nose. We have them in, welcome, Diorella. Welcome. We have them in our eyeball. It's kind of like a gel like that. Also, when I do myxoid cysts of the knuckles and we poke it and squeeze it out, it's like that. So it's just not quite as viscous though, you know. But what can happen with some people? It's in the lungs. People that have, you know, too much mucus buildup and they have to pound the lungs to break it up. It's a condition of the lungs. Some people, the mucus can solidify a little bit. And epithelium and even skin epithelium in certain areas, possibly there's goblet cells, sometimes around vasculature and vessels. And with trauma, they can release that. So what I think happened is the trauma from her sister, the trauma from the abscess formation and possibly the bursting of the cyst, and the trauma from us pushing and messing with it, and then after the aftermath of that. So I think the fluid and the green was from her sister pushing, the cyst burst, and we get what we usually get, purulence, kind of a white blood cell aftermath buildup with fluid as well, that you get that yellow. And then I think we drain that. And then I think the aftermath was this kind of mucin production from some goblet cells somewhere in that area that then solidified into this Vaseline or encapsulated, or that cyst wall that had ruptured reformed, which does happen. And when it did, there was goblet cells in the bottom of that pocket somehow attached. It's just that's not a normal place for them to be, which is the conundrum. But I can't. I literally, maybe somebody will come on here and comment that, you know, is a microbiologist or a pathophysiologist, and will hypothesize a different outcome. But that's all I can think of, and I thought about it for quite a bit since I saw it, and I say it has to be that. So that's probably what happened. Let's see. Let's go over the follow-up. Just want to show you it's quick. It's just only 2 minutes just to see how well she did. And then I'm going to answer some questions. So let's go over there. I'm going to shrink myself down. Here we go. Okay guys, MrPopZit here. This is kind of the last chapter of quite an abscess and cyst. We've had a couple of these now that started as a big abscess, and there was a cyst in there. We did get the path back. It just came back as a ruptured cyst, and it healed really well, actually. We got that little pore out, and we did have that kind of Vaseline-like infiltrate in there, and we sent it out, and they just said that it was just part of the cyst. I'm going to turn on my light here. You can see barely a seam there in the middle, so that healed really well. She has a little bit of just inflammation still there, and it is raised a little bit, so I think she might have a little bit of scar tissue just as kind of in that area, but we're going to monitor this if it tries to puff up again. Yes, I just wanted to interject here. Danielle, cystic fibrosis, that's what I was talking about. And so it was a snot cyst, Pam Powers, very funny. All right, let's finish this and we'll come back to this. But we opened that pocket, saw in there, we saw the bottom of the pocket, and we got that kind of scar tissue-like sac out and cleared out that Vaseline-like infiltrate. So this looks good, and we'll get these stitches out today, and that should be the last we hear from this cyst, hopefully. So hope you enjoyed. This was the final act. It was quite a story, actually, a pretty interesting abscess with an interesting cyst as well. So we'll keep an eye, though. If it starts swelling up, she'll come on back, and we'll get these stitches out right now. Okay, so this is it with the stitches out. You can see barely, you can't even really see where we cut her, so that looks great. Just a little red because her body was fighting those nylon stitches. Now that we got them out, all this redness and bruising, everything should go down. The internal sutures will take around 6 to 8 weeks. Her body will kind of dissolve those, and then everything should flatten out. So thanks again to her for sharing, and that's it. And we'll keep an eye on that mole as well. Okay, so you really couldn't see where we cut, which was good. She did heal very well. One thing. Two things, that mole, I did end up taking it off. It was pretty dark, and it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. So we did take that mole off. Oh, Scotty's here. Hello, hello. So thanks, Kathleen. Yeah, I'll redo stitches if I don't think they look good. I'll cut them out and redo them. I'm unfortunately a perfectionist, which can slow perfectionists down when they're doing little things constantly. But a couple things about the patient. She is so cool. I wanted to say that. I don't think I said that in the beginning. Such a nice woman and so just open to share. And her sister is really into popping videos. And, I know she really wanted to see this. I know it'd been over 6 months, but I'm sure they saw it. And she is on here, and she thanked everybody for the great comments, and she'll probably end up seeing this. But she is just so cool, and I wanted to thank her for all the videos that she has shared, and even her tattoo was on there, and she's like, I don't care, it's totally fine. She's so nice, and it's patients like that make this so fun, that want to help teach and show great cases. And, and she was like, I want to see the cup when we drain. She was blown away too. She's like, I can't believe all that came out, So it's very nice. The curiosity is fun of the patients, and to have them see their videos and come in. And it's really been picking up. We constantly, I get anywhere from 250,000 to 600,000 views a day on MrPopZit, believe it or not. And that's pretty amazing. And that's been pretty consistent for quite some time. Not from the very beginning, but for 9 months, 10 months. And I hear people listening to the videos before I go into the next room. Like, that's starting to happen more, that people are coming in that are looking me up and coming in to see me specifically. So that's kind of cool. It's a nice thing, I think they come in knowing what their procedure is going to be like, which is the whole reason I started this channel, is to give people some input on what they're going up against. Yes, I know. Put her on payroll. Exactly. Well, if there was payroll in these videos, that's, man, these videos, it's funny, Melody, you say that. Last year, gosh, it may even be a year and a half now. I think it's a year and a half. The previous June is when they demonetized my whole channel. And that first year was building, and we actually started to make a little bit on my non-procedure videos. There was actually, I had ads on the little videos, the follow-up videos, and that was starting to build. The second month that it actually started to build, they shut down the whole channel. It's like just as it was starting, that we could, start paying back the investment that for the lawyers and everything that we put in to even start it. And it's funny, you wouldn't think that, starting a YouTube channel, investment, lawyers, but you do have to start an LLC. You do have to file paperwork. You do have to pay, all these taxes and other things to start a business. I didn't even know that. It's this was a learning process. And then it was like finally just starting. And that's when they were saying it was the algorithm. They were blaming it on other things, actually. And that's when you saw me do all those lives a year and a half ago. And people were like, what are you doing? And I was testing the algorithm. And I was testing if I marked it correctly when I put it on and turned it back green, would it go back to green? And it did not. So they were not telling me the truth. And they did just demonetize my whole channel. So, yeah, I know. But this channel is going to be that little bit that will make us be able to keep this going and have it pay for itself. So, and I thank you guys. Thank you so much. And I appreciate it, because this is cool. And it was actually one of the fans' ideas to say, hey, they actually said open like 12 channels. But they were like, you should do, just the pops for acne channel, and they were saying break it down even more. But most of any of the procedure videos that I do are restricted, so trying to segment them off would not work, but this will work, and the lives, and there are some videos I can do on this, and I have a lot coming up, and some before and afters of laser, scar revision, and pore reduction, and just some great skin before and afters coming, and that I can do on here as well. So it's going to be fun, and yeah, thank you so much, Sky. And I also wanted to say, and people have been saying this, and I do need to do this, and I'm either going to do it myself or I may actually hire an editor to do it, is greatest hits. I have a ton. I have 40 hours or something like that, taking all the greatest acne extractions and doing just an hour-long video, you know, in some of the big cysts, and putting the greatest hits together. So that's something that's coming too, which I think would be good. And I probably do need to hire an editor for that. And so a couple things to look for also are, I said it on just my other channel. I did extractions yesterday on big blackheads, just covering the inside of both ears and all along the top of the lip. And I know you guys love lips and ears, so that's coming too. Will be coming up very soon. So very cool. We got up to like 76 here, I think. That's awesome. Do you guys have any questions? I like to go. Where do we get the stickers? Yeah. So stickers, this video is going to take us over the top for like super stickers, super chat, or super thanks. I think you were talking about maybe, or maybe just stickers just that they get. The super stickers is a way to, or super chat, when we're on a live chat, to like give $1 and it highlights your question so I can see it. I didn't know what these things were either. I still am learning, but super chat, super stickers, and now super thanks is something that they're doing, which is on a video when we're not even doing a chat. If you just go on a video that you really liked and you were like, hey, I want my comment to go and my thanks for this video, you can do a super thanks, and you can, you know, a lot of people ask me where they can donate to help because they know I got demonetized. I know not everybody wants to, and that's totally fine. And I'm not even asking for it, but for the people who do, I thank you because it does help. So, do you have to offer to squeeze out a patient's nose filaments as a bonus? No, you know, if somebody comes in, this happens a lot. That's a good question. And man, I've had a lot of older, single, widowed men or non-married men that are smokers. When that patient walks in, they're usually coming in, they've worked outside, they have actinic keratosis and rough spots. When I see them, I'm like, oh, hey, you want to pop off your shirt? Let me take a look at your back. Nobody's looking at your back. And you know, looking for melanoma, I found a lot of melanomas that way, but I found even more big blackheads on the back. They just get, the smokers tend to not produce as much sebum and oil. They dry out and they get a lot of dead skin buildup, and it causes blackheads. You know, it very commonly causes Favre Rakeshau, what you see there too. So yeah, I do that, and they're usually a gold mine. And it's funny because, you know, I tell them like, hey, you know, you have a big blackhead back here. You want me to pop that out for you? And they're like, oh, absolutely. You know, I didn't even know I had it. Or yeah, I try to get that when I can, but I can't reach it. And then I say, you know, I have a channel where I kind of show people how to do these, how to open the pore without causing like a lot of blood, and how to get it out. And they're like, oh, that's great. You know, so many people are so receptive. It's great. Let me see what happened in the videos. Oh yeah. Okay. I think somebody's talking about like a GoFundMe for something. So yeah, so that's the patient I look for. And you know, cheeks and foreheads, there are certain areas that are cooler than others. The forehead can be actually pretty amazing. And the reason for it is you can really increase the pressure gradient and sometimes get big pops or get a lot of stuff in there that just keeps coming out. And it's because you're pushing right against the bone. And I don't have a favorite. I like them all. It helps, you know. One thing I like about it, there's something, I think this is a condition actually. There's something, and I remember this as when I was younger, seeing a freshly mowed yard. I know that sounds strange, but with pretty high grass, Like when you see a yard that not just, that just got mowed last week, high grass, which I would see in Ohio a lot, and then somebody going back and forth and mowing it and mowing it and mowing it. And I got like a satisfaction out of that. Doing it myself or even seeing somebody doing it, seeing it halfway done and then seeing it done. Something about, I get the same feeling when I clear pores, when I clear a face. It's like a job well done, maybe, I don't know, or a job done. It's funny. But yeah, private questions are tough, Kathy, because I technically by law can't do a one-on-one consult on here. So that's tough, but you can, if you're in the area. It's a good question. I am thinking about starting something, and I already have some things started on it. It's a consult. It's a .com, and where you can do a quick derm consult, online one-on-one. There are people who do that already. There are some laws that have stopped that because you have to do it within the state. But with COVID, I shouldn't even have said that, the word. With that, they changed some of the laws about being out of state, and people moved out of state or working from home, and to still be able to do online consults. But I cannot do it in this venue, so sorry about that. But I can talk about conditions, though, just not a one-on-one talking about your specific condition, or a picture of that or anything like that on here. So a lot of people ask that too. That's a good question. Sorry about that. But it's medical license stuff. You got to be careful. Yeah, popping chin sits with a credit card for sure. I have seen people take a straight, if you're pushing down as you go across, it's the same idea with the loop extractor pulling one way. You're kind of pulling in when that pore is here, and you're pinching the bottom of the pore. As you pull across it, it pulls everything up from the bottom. Anonymous and ask gotcha. Okay, I'm looking at some questions. Let me see here, make sure I didn't miss any. But this is great, guys. We almost got up to 80, 85. MrPopZit fishing. Yes, Sandra. I knew I saw something that I wanted to come back to. Very fun. That's just what I do. I was actually going to go out this morning, but I was so tired. It was a tough week. The kids have been a little sick, and they woke us up multiple times. And when I wake up at 2 a.m., my brain starts going, and I don't usually go back to sleep. Maybe an hour. Sometimes I don't even go to sleep, and that's why my voice has been back. It's been a tough week and a half with a sick dog. He's had a stomach issue, and then the kids. It's just been crazy. But my voice is coming back. But yes, the fishing channel was what I was like, you know what? I like doing that. I just put a camera on, and we'll put up some videos on that, and it kind of helps the whole brand as well. But then I realized, man, is that a lot of editing? And talk about, I barely have time to edit these videos. And I think it took me 20 hours to do that last video that I did. It was like 2 weeks, and it was 2 hours, a lot of days. It was pretty crazy. And the reason for that is I have 3 cameras going. I tried to make a different type of video. I tried to have underwater footage, the hook set, an above camera. I wanted to do something a little bit different. Some people do that, but they don't do it like on every catch. And, I thought that would be unique. And I would love, if that's all I had to do, I would love to do that like full time because it's fun. And I have my underwater drone. I was going to put that down there and catch fish live on an underwater drone. If I had all the time in the world, that's what I would do. But, when you have 3 or 4 hours fishing with 3 cameras, you're talking about 10, 12 hours of editing. I mean, that is a lot to edit. And GoPro has a very cool app that you can actually go through in low definition and X out all the stuff you don't need. And you can do it relatively quickly, but it still takes a while. But yeah, good question. Let me see. Newly acquired removal. Can you use ice cube? Yeah, you can use ice and cold. I actually use cold sometimes on my lasers that I do, because the lasers tend to heat, especially my resurfacing laser. Oh, I know. I hear people talk about Anisla Brown, and that she was very sick, something like that. You know, she has a very nice voice, very relaxing. I've seen a couple of her videos pop up after mine, once or twice. Oh my goodness! Look who is here! The princess has showed up in her princess dress. Can you say hello?
Hello.
Hi. What are you doing?
I just got downstairs.
You were just downstairs. Did you just eat?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Can you wave? Can you blow kisses? Mwah. I love your princess dress. We're talking to people over in Europe. Can you believe that? That's oh, yes, you can. So cool. So you want to go? We're getting ready to close it down. Do you want to go tell mommy Daddy's gonna come downstairs?
It's mommy.
Okay, I think she's downstairs. Go tell her. I'll be right there. Oh, that's okay. So yeah. Kathy, for sure. 3 young kids under 7, married, and I work 4 days a week, but I'm very busy when I do work there. Finding the time. Oh, thank you. She is my little princess. Love her so much. She's so fun too. She is hilarious at the dinner table. Some of the things she says. But yeah, finding the time. It's you know, if I enjoy this, I will say that. Obviously, you know, if a lot of people stopped last year when they did this to these channels, and you know, people that were doing it for money. And another interesting thing that happened with that is what I've talked about a year ago: copyright infringement. I was getting 5 to 8 videos a day stolen last year. And they would bring my video in so my logo would be gone, and then they would just play music, and they show my face. It was me talking, and some of them would actually bring a copyright infringement against me. It just happened multiple times last year, and against my own video, and I had to do all this paperwork to say that I wasn't infringing. They took my video and then brought a copyright infringement against me. And I think that's why YouTube did what they did, to be honest with you. They don't tell you. So, but I know I was getting 5 to 8 a day stolen. I had thousands of times that it was stolen where they took my videos and they put their music to it and put it on their channel to try and make money off of it. So since they have taken all the money away completely of these channels, I get maybe one every other day. I still get stolen ones, but it's nothing like, I would say 90 to 95% reduced. And I think that's why they did it. I bet you they were dealing with huge, every time that happens, there's a legal form that they actually give to you and send it in an email, and you have to send it out and you sign it electronically. I bet you they were sick of dealing with that. So, you know, it's, I did write my name on my gloves for a while when this was happening. I did start doing that. It's kind of past, you know. It also is, people, a lot more people have seen me now and know that it's me, and when they see my face. Back then, I was still trying to build this. This is only 2 years in the running. So, yeah, I did write on my hands for quite some time, and somebody recommended that. I thought that was a good idea. But now it's like, you know, there's a lot of people have stopped doing these videos because of that. But, you know, it is what it is. I think this new super thanks, honestly, I think what they're doing, because they're losing people to things like Patreon, they're trying to allow some of the channels that that they demonetized for people to be able to give them something. Yeah, they take 30% of it, but, you know, Patreon, some of those take 20%. I believe maybe 5. It's 5 to 20, but they do that. So, yeah. So, you know, it's a minefield. Things are constantly changing, but I have just come to the conclusion that I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep, because it's fun. I'm already doing the procedures. I do like to share them. I think people enjoy them and learn from them. So as long as that's still happening, the chips will fall where they may. But thank you guys so much. I think that's the last. I know Mom sends in the princess when it's time to go. I think you're right. It's the princess cutoff. So that's good though. It is time to go. I think it's lunchtime. And on Fridays, sometimes MrPopZit and MrPopZit get a little lunch date, and we get that today. So it should be fun. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed that. A lot of stuff coming. I am going to be transitioning to on this channel some cosmetics too, some before and afters, and some videos of how that works. And I have a ton of videos still coming on the other channel, MrPopZit, and I do have some fishing stuff coming, so it's coming there. And a very cool trip coming up in about 3 weeks, and I'm going to do lives on this channel, MrPopZit Live. You guys are going to see where Mr. and MrPopZit are going, and it's actually pretty cool, very fun, and it's going to be exciting to see the lives. So you guys have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Signing off. Thanks again for the support. You guys have a good one.